Hello everybody, Skin Deep Beauty Vlogger here. I hope you're all really well. Today's video is going to be a one brand tutorial using the very popular brand Benefit. I really hope that you like it. I'm going to be creating this sort of smoky eye look. I'm going to be using quite a few products in the tutorial to create this full face look, and so you'll be able to get a feel for the products that I like from Benefit as well as those that I don't enjoy quite so much, and I really hope that you'll find it useful. Do comment below with which other one brand tutorials you would like to see as well, because I really enjoyed putting this together and I found it interesting to see which products I thought performed well and which ones didn't, and also how they interacted. I always feel that brands do certain things better than others, so I think that this is a really interesting type of video. I certainly enjoy watching them, so let me know if you enjoy it and if there's any others you'd like to see. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start by priming my face using Benefit's The Porefessional. This is the UK's best-selling primer or high-end primer, and people such as Rihanna are fans, reportedly. This is what the texture looks like. Now, I've previously said before that I don't particularly like this. It is quite silicone-y, has a fruity scent, but I was concerned when I was using this previously, when my acne-prone skin was at its worst, that this really wasn't helping. It was clogging the pores a bit. However, I have used it on brides. It does help your makeup to last a lot longer throughout the day. It does give your skin that sort of silky, velvety finish that you'll be accustomed to if you like silicone-based products, but I just think it's a bit overpriced at £24.50. You know, there are so many brands that do silicone-based primers now, so to me, I'm not a big fan of this. Next, I'm going to be applying Benefit's Hello Flawless Oxygen Wow Foundation. I'm in the shade Believe in Me Ivory, and I'm going to be using a Real Techniques buffing brush to apply this with because I don't have Benefit tools. So that's the only thing that won't be Benefit in this, is the tools. And I do like this foundation. I've previously done a first impressions video on it, so I will link that below if you want to see a more detailed review and application, but I just think it gives a very nice skin-like finish. The only thing I'll say is that it's not the best if you're going on a night out and going to have flash photography, or say you're going to a wedding, because it does have a high SPF of 25 in it. So although this is a smoky eye tutorial, I wouldn't recommend this foundation for a night out, but I wanted to give my one brand tutorials a bit of a theme so that you're actually getting a look that you can recreate as well. And you don't necessarily have to use these products, of course, but you know, at least you can get some ideas on different looks, even if you're not necessarily interested in the brand or in all of the brand's products. Next up, concealer, and first of all I'm going to conceal under the eyes using Benefit's Fake Up, and I'm in shade number 1. There are 3 shades available in this. It's got a coloured core and then a hydrating outer edge. And I thought it was interesting on the website that this is described as a top seller rather than a bestseller. So presumably that means that it is a top seller for Benefit but not a bestseller throughout the UK. This applies very smoothly, and I'm just applying it directly from the tube, and then I'm going to blend it in with my fingers. I don't love this. It is hydrating. It's designed as a hydrating and crease control concealer. Personally, I do believe that it's hydrating. I don't necessarily think it's crease control. But it's not my favourite because I just prefer the opacity of something such as Rimmel Wake Me Up. For spot concealing, I'm going to use Erase Paste, and one of the things that I like about this is that despite it being in a tub presentation, you do get a little spatula, which I think is good. It sort of helps against, which I think is good. You know, I mean, I think that tub presentations tend to be quite unhygienic, but they've addressed that slightly by providing this spatula. Now, again, this is only available in 3 shades, and I was actually sent this for a review, so I've been sent the shade medium, which is a little dark for me, but I think if I blend it out, then hopefully we'll be able to make it work. Just going to pop a little bit of that onto the back of my hand, and then just dab it onto the affected areas with my fingers. This is quite a thick formula concealer. Not sort of as waxy and thick as, say, one that was in a stick format, but thicker than one that you'd apply with a doe foot applicator, for example. Now, I don't love either of these concealers, but I wanted to apply them so that you could see, and because of course it is a one brand tutorial. I think that Fake Up has a slightly odd appearance because I do like that it's hydrating under the eyes, but I don't know if you can see, it almost looks greasy, which I suppose they may describe as a brightening effect, but to me it just almost has a wet look. It's not a good finish, in my opinion. And then Erase Paste, as I said, I've got the wrong shade, and it's described as a brightening camouflage for face and eyes, but it was very warm toned, so just be aware of that. However, I do think that both of those concealers are reasonably priced. They're comparable to other high-end brands. So Fake Up is £18.50, and you do get a fair amount of product in there. And then Erase Paste, again, you're getting a fair amount of product, and this is £20.50. So both of those, I think, are comparable to other products. One of my favourite things that Benefit does are their highlighters, and I really like Girl Meets Pearl for every day. I prefer High Beam for a night out. I'm just going to apply this directly onto my face. I have previously used That Gal primer, which is in the same twist-up format, which is very convenient. And I suppose because that was a primer and I'm applying it all over my face, I found that didn't last very long at all, and I didn't think it was very good value for money, although I did like the primer. I much prefer that actually to Benefit the Porefessional, even though it's not half as best-selling. Whereas this, I feel like it lasts a really long time. And to be honest, at £24.50, so it should, but I do really like this as a highlighter. It's one of my favourite liquid highlighters. It just gives a very nice, realistic skin-like finish, but very brightening. Okay, so now I've applied all of the cream products that I'm going to my base. I'm going to set that with the Porefessional powder. Now, although I don't like the Porefessional primer, I do really like this powder. I like the functionality of the packaging, although it does look quite cheap and plasticky, but it's, you know, it's well thought out. So it's got the lid, a little salt and pepper style shaker. You just tip some of the loose powder into the lid, like so. And then the base, you have got a little mini brush. So I think this is really great for travel. I always take this when I'm travelling. I think it's really convenient. So you just swirl your brush in there, tap off the excess. Some people might think it's a bit unhygienic to have the brush like this, but this is a product that I would only use on myself. Just taking that down the T-zone, and then I'm going to put a very light dusting underneath the eyes just to try and tone down some of that sort of wet look. And then I'm going to put it very lightly, just what's left on the brush, over my cheeks, where I'm going to be applying powder, bronzer and blusher. This is described as Agent Zero Shine. It's a Shine Vanishing Pro Powder, and I really do think that it does have a mattifying effect, and it is pretty good at controlling oil over a long period of time, longer than other powders that I've tried. However, I do think it's really expensive. This is £23.50, and you only get 7 grams, so it's not going to last long. That's my major downside that sort of puts me off recommending this, because I do think it's really overpriced. Benefit's boxed blushes and bronzers are really, really popular, and with good reason. You get a lot of product in here for your money. These are £23.50 and I love them. I'm going to start off by using Hoola, which is a gorgeous bronzer. I haven't reached for it that much recently actually, but it is a sort of old favourite. It just looks like this. It's a nice bronzing shade because it's neither too muddy nor too orangey. And I'm going to be using this to contour with, so I'm using the Real Techniques contour brush. And then I'm going to be using Coralista, which is one of my favourite blushes. It's, as the name suggests, a really pretty coral colour. This is one of my favourite blushes that I come back to summer after summer. It has got a sheen to it, but it's not glittery in terms of having chunks of glitter. It's more just a nice natural sheen. Again, I'm using a Real Techniques brush. This is their blush brush. Just taking that on the high points of the apples of the cheek and up through the cheekbone. Can you see what a nice glow that gives? I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera. So I've got it on this cheek, but not this one. I really do like these blushes. I've got Dallas, which is a nice one for autumn, and Havana, which I quite like for spring. I don't love it as much as, you know, people really rave about Havana, and I like it, but I don't love it as much as some other people do. Next, I'm going to try and tackle my brows, which are in desperate need of a thread. I'm having a threading appointment tomorrow, so excuse their appearance. But I'm going to be using Benefit's Browzings, which is another bestseller. A little palette looks like this. So you get a brow wax and powder, and then a couple of brushes and the cutest little mini pair of tweezers. And there's a full-size mirror in this lid as well. Now, the directions state to apply the wax first, so I'm going to do that. And I have previously tried the dark Browzings, but this is the medium one. I haven't tried it before, but I think it's going to be a much better match for me, so quite excited to try this out. It would be helpful if there was a spoolie, I guess. And the powder. These little brushes aren't just adorably cute, but they're actually quite a good size for the brows. But as I said, I would like the inclusion of a spoolie, particularly given the price. This isn't cheap, it's £24.50. But then I guess again that's not bad compared to other similar brands. And I like that it has tweezers in there because that would be good if you're travelling. But as I said, I feel like they need to be softened a bit by going through with a spoolie. Right, next we're going to be applying eyeshadow, and as I said, this is going to be a smoky look. The eyeshadows is really cute. They come in these sort of cardboard round boxes with sort of Art Deco feel to them. I'm going to be using the shade Skinny Jeans first, which is sort of pewter colour, and this is a cream shadow, so I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Eyeshadow C brush, which is a nice synthetic brush for applying cream shadow with. And that's what it looks like, by the way. And I must say that I do like these Benefit shadows because I find them to be nice and long wearing. I'm going to apply that in a thin layer first, all over the movable part of the lid, before taking a clean blending brush and buffing out the edges. And I've only applied that onto this eye, so you can see if you just apply that as a light wash of colour, you can actually get quite a nice soft look that you could wear in the daytime as well. Or if you don't want the intensity of a full-on smoky eye. But I do, so I'm going to go back in again and lay down a little bit more colour. And because I like my smoky eyes to have balance, I'm going to take a little bit on an angled, I'm going to take a little bit on an accent brush and just apply that along the bottom lash line, stopping where the inner coloured part of my eye stops. And these have quite a smooth, creamy texture that's nice to work with, that doesn't drag on the lids at all. It's quite a lot more creamy than something such as the Maybelline Colour Tattoos. So if you're not accustomed to such a creamy formula, then you might find these a little bit difficult to control, but actually I do really like them. Now, it is entirely my natural reaction to want to smoke out the edges of that with another colour that's very cool tones, such as a grey or even a black. And the colour that I had to do that with was in the Smoking Eyes palette, but I believe that that's being discontinued and I couldn't get an answer. I tweeted Benefit twice and they didn't reply. So instead I'm going to go in with this powder shadow in the shade It's Complicated, and I'm going to just do the lightest dusting of this through the crease just to have a bit of a transition shade. But I really don't want it to detract from this silvery grey. It's almost like a golden peach, so it's adding quite a nice dimension actually to the shadow. Right, next I'm going to talk about eyeliner, and I've got a couple of things to say on this. The one I'm going to be using is the Bad Gal Waterproof Eyeliner, which is just a mini one that I got in the Do the Bright Thing palette. I think that Benefit palettes or kits are really good value. They're a great way of trying out some smaller products before you invest the relatively high prices, so I would highly recommend them, and they make really nice gifts as well. The full size of this is £15.50, so it's not cheap, and I am wondering whether it's being discontinued because I could see it on the sales section of the website. The reason that they might be discontinuing that is because Benefit really are pushing the Theyre Real line now. It used to always be about Bad Gal, and I used to love the Bad Gal mascara. It was one of the first high-end mascaras that I ever used. I think it was 2014 that they launched the Theyre Real Push-Up Liner, and this is like a gel liquid liner. I don't have the full size, which costs £18.50, but I did get this little sample with a magazine, and I have to say it is the worst sample that I've ever received because it was just really difficult to control. You have to squeeze this part. There's a little stopper in the lid. I found it very difficult to control the product, and I was squeezing it out for quite some time. It felt quite stiff in here, so I was testing it on the back of my hand, and what I will say is that it gave a nice intense colour, and I could not wash those swatches off my hand. So I do think it's a nice intense black that, you know, seemed to apply very smoothly and would be long wearing. However, I just couldn't get a feel for it out of this sample. I was thinking I would do a first impressions, but I'm glad that I didn't, because, to be honest, I don't think that this is a suitable sample to give you an impression, because by the time I'd tested it on my hand, there was very little product left in here to apply it onto my eyes. So I'm umming and ahhing whether to get the full size. I've heard some people love it, some people hate it. Apparently it's a bestseller, but then some of my blogger friends haven't gotten on so well with it. So, you know, and they're people whose opinions that I really respect. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to use a good old-fashioned pencil liner, and I'm just going to take this along the upper lash line. So apologies if this is being discontinued, but it's the only Benefit eyeliner that I have. And you know me, I love my eyeliner, so I couldn't do a tutorial with a smoky eye without including some eyeliner. And I have to say, what a shame it would be if they are discontinuing it, because it's very nice pigmented, do a swatch, there you go, one line there, pigmented smooth formula. Now I'm going to do the next step in a slightly weird order for me, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm going to be applying mascara, and I'm also going to be applying some false lashes. Again, these are in the sale, so I don't know if that means they're being discontinued. Benefit Their Real Mascara, as I said, this is the one that they're really pushing now over the Bad Gal one. And it's very popular, a bestseller in the UK, and I have to say that I do like it. I don't love it, but I really do like it. I think it's suited to a lot of different people's lash and mascara wants and needs. It's got this plastic bristle wand with this interesting ball at the top, so it makes it very easy to grab even the smallest lashes in the inner corners, on the bottom lashes. Really nice. It does give that sort of false lash, it does give that I can't say this. It does give that false lash effect. Now I've got very different eyes to my mum. I always tease her and say she's got very small piggy eyes, and she really likes this just as much as I do. And I've barely applied it there, but you can see already that it really is enhancing the lashes. It's giving a nice defined look, adding volume, length. It's not clumping, it's separating nicely. So that eye has it on. And that one doesn't. Okay, I was going to try and film me applying those on camera, but I actually struggled quite a bit. I found that this eye was a lot easier to apply than this one, and I don't know if it's because I applied the Theyre Real first, and so my lashes had a bit of a curl to them. I do tend to hold off on curling my lashes normally if I'm going to be applying false lashes, but I wanted to apply the Theyre Real first because I really wanted to preserve the quality of these lashes, and I do find that Theyre Real, the major downside with this is that it's very difficult to remove. They have recently brought out an eye makeup remover especially targeted at removing this. In terms of the lashes, I actually really like them. They're a very dramatic, bold lash, almost a bit of a drag queen look, but I love them. I mean, I like making the most of my eyes. I think for £12 they're actually pretty reasonable. The lashes themselves feel very soft. The thing that I don't like about them, which I found made it difficult to apply, was that they have a very thick band. So they're not very flexible, probably not best suited to beginners. I apply lashes quite often, pretty much every time I go out, and I'm accustomed to lashes, but I found these fairly difficult to work with. My favourites for reference are the Demi Wispies by Ardell. So this is the eyes finished, and last up I'm going to use some of the Benefit Ultra Plush Lip Gloss in the shade Dandelion, which is designed to complement the box blush in the same shade. It's meant to be a sort of pretty wearable pink, so I thought it would go well with a smoky eye. However, I have to say that although these do feel very comfortable on the lips, they really live up to that Ultra Plush name. They're extremely sheer, and for £14.50 I don't think that they're worth it. They do have a nice fruity fragrance, but you certainly don't need, I mean, they're so sheer that you certainly don't need to collect the whole set. I always feel like lip gloss is something that you can buy affordably at the drugstore anyway, and I don't really think that it's a product that's worth spending your money on. But if you do like lip gloss, then these aren't sticky, they do feel very comfortable, and as I said, they have a nice fruity scent, but they're just incredibly sheer. Be prepared for that, despite the fact that they've got lots of different shades in them. So that's the finished look. I hope you liked it and that you found it interesting hearing about the different products that I like and don't like so much from Benefit. One of the things that I would like to do is set my makeup with a setting spray, but they don't actually seem to offer one, which is a shame. I think it would tie in really nicely with their other products such as the Porefessional primer and setting powder. And I also think that the packaging is so adorable, particularly of the eyeshadows, you know, that sort of Art Deco feel, that nail polishes would be a lovely thing to see from the brand as well. But I hope you found this useful. I always think that brands do certain things better than others, so hopefully you found it interesting to see the different products that I like and dislike from Benefit. If you'd like me to do a hits and misses, I can of course do that as well, but I thought it'd be interesting to do this. You can see all the products in action, well, apart from the lashes, but you can see them all, how they apply, and hopefully get a nice feel for them. Do give this a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment below and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much for watching. I'm quite zoomed in, but I thought you'd want to see the products on my face. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!